Presidents Gorbachev and Bush stepped out from under the spotlight in the nation's capital for a day of private discussions at Camp David. Shortly after making their exit, someone else took center stage.
Freedom now! Freedom now! Freedom now! Freedom now!
The situation is devastating in Lithuania, and he gets the Peace Award.
And the Soviet Union should not get most favored nation status. And Mr. Gorbachev, we're going to fight you on the floor of the Senate.
They gathered on the Capitol steps, congressional leaders and demonstrators for Lithuanian independence shouting freedom now. They're demanding that a most favored nation trade status not be granted to the Soviet Union as long as it refuses to restore independence to the Baltic states. Taking all of this in was Irma Kostanovla, a member of the visiting Lithuanian women's volleyball team. I think he's a man of wisdom, she says, and we have hopes he will return Lithuania to independence. Lithuania has already declared its independence, and still it's under the Soviet Union. Until other free nations recognize our independence, she says, we won't be free. Irma was more reserved than the Americans protesting on behalf of her country, who say freedom isn't something the U.S. can or should compromise. Our country, they say, should be in the forefront of fighting for it, not making political deals over it. It is a side of North Minneapolis perhaps too seldom portrayed. The stories of people struggling to make something of their lives perhaps too often go neglected in light of the adversity that surrounds them. Part-time student and full-time mother Charlene Thompson is one of those people, but even she doesn't hesitate to point out the problems.
Well, I feel afraid, I fear. I feel that I have to constantly check and see if my doors are locked. And basically like that, I don't come out after dark.
Just last night, for example, the double stabbing and shooting within an hour at the same address on Girard Terrace. Witnesses say the incidents were gang-related. Police don't know for sure, but they do know gang-related violence is on the rise in North Minneapolis. If you look closely enough, the signs are everywhere. In this case, just a few yards from where children routinely play. Gang graffiti is a language all its own, and this wall sort of represents a turf battle. The 6-point star here is the symbol for the disciples. You'll notice a 5-point star is spray-painted over it. That's the symbol for the vice lords. It's considered an insult to paint over another gang's writings.
We're going to stop this car up here.
Sergeant Dave Shotley has been patrolling North Minneapolis for 5 years. Not only does he see more people wearing colors, they proudly display their gang affiliations.
This is a big hangout for right here. Vice Lord. D and an L.
Shotley also sees the results of that affiliation.
Right now, they're doing the initiation where they're taking baseball bats and assaulting people with baseball bats.
Shotley says more education is the key to solving the problem. Some critics say more funding. But at least one person who lives with the problems every day says what's needed most is a change in attitude. Brad Woodard, KARE 11 Sunrise.